Hello and welcome to Mercury's Ministries. I'm Lady Mercury. My hair is a mess. I'm still wearing my pajama shirt, my Nirvana shirt. Well, it's not really my pajama shirt. I just kind of slept in it and I didn't take it off because I've been doing chores all day. And I figure, why got a good clean shirt dirty when I can just wear my dirty shirt that's already dirty from sleeping in it. Anyways, at the moment, I'm waiting for my husband to get back, and I'm waiting for his friend to come over, but I'm just kind of grounding up some dehydrated orange peels and some sea salt. And this stuff here is going to be more used as a topical oil base. I'm using some nice sea salt. Pinch a couple pinches of this sea salt into there. Yes, I do use sea salt to make my bath salt. As you can see, I recycle other people's pill containers. It's kind of hard to see what's in there, but I kind of use that to help with stuff. But yeah, so last night I fell asleep with my frequencies on, and man, was that a trip. That was pretty fun. So I ended up, going through the tunnel of light because it was an astral projection frequency, and so I ended up, I can't remember where it started off because it was kind of a blur. But I do remember that when I started off, we were like looking for somebody. I can't remember who we were looking for, but we were looking for somebody. And it was just me and this other guy. Again, for some reason, I'm always with a guy, but he never tells me who he is. And it's always the same guy. He always leaves halfway through, so it's interesting. So I was with this guy, and we were walking around this creepy abandoned hospital type setting, except it was well kept abandoned. Abandoned and 100% preserved. There was just nobody in this hospital. And there were locked doors everywhere, but if you wanted to go through them, you could just walk through them because they would just kind of open and you could walk through them. Well, anyways, we were walking through this creepy abandoned looking hospital. Yes, I do know that I do have my mortar and pestle, but I do shred up these because they're a little hard to grind down with this particular one that I have. So we're walking down this hallway, and he vanishes out of nowhere. I can't remember what he told me, but he told me something, and it was something along the lines of "I'll see you later," which was totally random. We were just exploring this abandoned building, and there was this weird energy involved in this building. So when I was abandoned by my companion that was traveling with me, he kind of just poofed. There was no him walking away. He just, see you later, poof, bye, just gone. No one was there after that. It was just me and this weird energy that was left behind. So I'm walking around, and then the shadows start moving. I'm like, okay, this is about to get interesting. And then there's other beings that are talking to me in emotions and frequencies and stuff, which was interesting, especially since the ones that were talking to me, they weren't showing their faces. It was faceless people talking to me, which I'm used to the faceless people talking to me, and I'm used to the blue people slapping me on the head with their little oriental fans, which is hilarious, and we'll talk about that later. But I had to crack my back. So walking around spirits talking to me, spirits whispering to me and stuff with their absent faces, their lack of faces. And this little like weird spot in the hospital where there was like a hatch, like here's a floor, and it's like one of those things where the doors open like this, and then there's like a staircase that goes down, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna explore this staircase here. And I went down into this deep dungeony type of thing, and in this dungeon was this like really like prominent masculine energy that felt like repressed sexual male energy. And it kept asking me to free it and to feed it, and I thought it was weird. And then it started like feeding off of me a little bit, which I did allow it to feed off of me a little bit, so I am a little bit of a guilty party there, allowing it to feed off of me, which I probably shouldn't have, but it seemed like it was dying, so I just kind of let it. And it didn't seem like it was evil, it just seemed like it was repressed. And it might have even been another part of myself that I wasn't paying attention to as much, so it came across as that. And then after it was done feeding off of me, it just kind of like merged into my being a little bit in the dream, which I thought was pretty heavy considering some of the situations that have been going on lately at my home. Then I woke up with like cramps after the dream, but we'll talk about that later. So like after that, there was like a bunch of people, and the people that didn't have faces, all of a sudden their faces were very like clear, and you could see who they were and what they were like facial expression wise doing. So that was interesting. I keep looking over to my left because I have a little fur friend sitting next to me. Say hello, Captain Dude. Say hello. Kisses, kisses, kisses. He's a good kitty. I've been not feeling so well physically today, so my kitty's been sitting at my side all day. But yeah, so like their faces were all visual and stuff. And then I started getting a flashback from another dream that I had a few years ago during a near-death experience that I had. This was not my first near-death experience. This would have been my second near-death experience. So I flashed into this memory of my near-death experience when I went to this battlefield. And now, every time I have this near-death experience, there's always a battlefield involved, and I am always riding the same white horse. And it's always a white horse with a black mane and black tail, black legs, but the rest of the body is white. It's an Appaloosa horse, I think. Didn't look like it had spots on it, but it might have, because I keep drawing it with spots, so I think it has spots. It just doesn't show me in the dreams. But this horse is like connected to me, and it's a male horse, so I'm thinking that the male that's in my dream that is always like there with me when I arrive places and then disappears, I think that that male might be that horse. Like, it's the same voice, so I'm thinking that he's also the horse, and I'm thinking that he might be a spirit guide, maybe not my spirit guide, and he might be my spirit guide, but I feel like he's a spirit guide. But he's a very intriguing horse, and so is this guy, if they're separate people. Anyways, so I'm usually like riding this horse, and I'll get on this horse, but I always ask him permission. Like, I'll touch his shoulder and I'll ask him, may I ride you to my destination? And he always says yes, but not like in words. I'll get like pictures in my head, which is kind of cool. And then when I'm writing him, there's always like this flash, like constant flashing. And these constant flashing images in my head are always like really cryptic messages that have to do with things that are going on around me in my home environment or the environment that I'm sleeping in. So, like, in this instance, it was a flashback to when I was in the insane asylum. Well, not an insane asylum, but in a mental hospital. And, like, there was pictures. Hold on a second. Isabel, are you okay? Go to bed, sweetie. It's 9:30. She needs to be in bed. Sorry. In this case, I was in the mental hospital, and I was just kind of trying to transition medications when I had this near-death experience. And they gave me Seroquel, by the way, which is the one that I ended up having this near-death experience on. And I had my second medicational overdose in the hospital, and they will deny it up and down that I ever had this medicational overdose. But, I mean, my medical records do say that I was in the hospital doing a crappy flop on the floor, but nobody really wants to talk about that other than me, apparently. They said it was an allergic reaction, but an allergic reaction doesn't make you die instantaneously in your sleep. My daughter's playing with the cat. But yeah. So, anyways, I was riding this horse through this field, and there was this picture of a cow, okay? A picture of this cow chewing, just like chewing hay, and like chewing its cud, essentially. And like, then he says, only fools consume what they're force-fed. And then like the skin started like rotting and melting off of the skull in the dream. And then like there was a flash, and we were like standing in front of this giant obelisk that had a pyramid base. Now the first time I had a near-death experience, it was just a simple obelisk. But the second time, it had a pyramid base with an obelisk sticking out the top part where it was flat. So that was interesting to me. So it was totally out of place because it was a forest in the middle of nowhere where it was like a big battleground. This was the second near-death experience, so instead of it being soaked in blood everywhere like the first one, which we'll talk about later, there was just bones and shields and spears sticking up out of the ground in places that were, like, they were left from the first near-death experience, which I thought was cool because, like, everything that was in there looked like it had been sitting for quite a while. And so I was like, oh boy, here we go again. And I put my hand on the obelisk. Well, not on the obelisk part, but on the side of the pyramid, and I went into the pyramid. And in the pyramid, there was hieroglyphics floating all around me, different directions. Some were going like this, and some of them were going like this. It was kind of cool to look at. And then I was standing on a platform, and I could see, if I looked at one of the walls, I could see the shadow of what looked like a scale, which was kind of neat. And then I saw Anubis's shadow, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm here again. And he said, welcome back. Exactly like that. He was like, welcome back. And, you know, I'm being weighed on the scales in Anubis's temple at this point, and he's like lowering me onto the scale like this, like with a rope, like, and then he's like, not today. and then he just like does this like really fast with the rope, and then I shot up through the obelisk like really fast, so like my vision went from looking at a singular version of what was going on to looking at a multiple dimensional version of what was going on. So I was seeing it like, here's one frame, and then here's another frame, and then here's another frame. It was like a collage version, but it was like I was looking at it as if it was like a video reel, like an old video reel. So that was kind of neat. And then, like, as I was shooting up through the obelisk, the screen images were getting lighter and lighter and more washed out looking. And, like, I was trying to remember exactly what it looked like the next day. And I started actually, like, when I woke up from that dream, that near-death experience that I had, I actually started drawing pictures of what I saw in my dream. And then every time one of the ward people would come over and like say, "Oh, that's a cool picture. What is that?" I would just kind of look at them and glare at them, and I'd be like, "I don't want to talk right now." And then I would just go back to it, and they'd get mad. But anyways, so I was getting the flashback to this dream where, like, after all these people like overwhelmed me with like emotions and pictures that were in their heads, and then like I saw the white horse again, and I hopped on his back, and I woke up in my living room on the couch having cramps. So today I've been just kind of sitting in my living room all cramped up in the gut and just kind of watching YouTube videos for most of the morning and then doing chores all day. So I've been just kind of sweaty and tired, taking care of kids, doing chores all day. Found out that I was out of salt. Had to go to the Mike's Discount grocery store, go get some sea salt. I got a nice big one for $1. That was nice. And then pretty much since then I've been cooking and cleaning since I got home. So that's kind of how my day's gone so far. I mean, this wasn't really like a structured dream diary because I don't remember most of what happened in the dream. And the parts I do remember, I can't really tell you guys because it's a little more personal than I'm allowed to like actually say on the stream. But I have been doing this lovely orange peels and sea salt thing. It does smell fantastic. Can't really get a good picture of it. And yeah, I do plan on using this for like multiple different things. I just wanted to get the base of it done. I do like my little mortar and pestle because it's got this spiral on it. It's a good totem to use when I'm needing to be grounded. I'll sit here and I'll feel it, and I'll spin it around in my hands and trace the circles on it. It's a nice little mortar and pestle, and I love it. I actually got it from Sex World when I started working there, and it was the first thing I bought with my peep show money, actually. And ever since then, it's just kind of been my friend. It brings me comfort. I know a lot of you think I'm crazy because I have inanimate objects for friends, but I can guarantee you that when you were a child, you probably had inanimate objects as friends as well, like teddy bears and stuff like that. So, you know, you can judge me all you want, but make sure you're perfect, and you always have been perfect before you start pointing judgment at me. Anyways, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe, hit that ding dong bell down there below, and hit that like button if you made it this far. My name is Lady Mercury, and stay happy, stay healthy, and thrive to survive. Have a fabulous rest of your evening. Good night.